This
license
conference
up
will now be recorded.
means we don't have to do that, and we don't have to have a CLA. But I guess from my side, I need to get AMD's lawyers to tell me that that's okay, right?
Okay, and I think yeah, we need to be kind of clear on what this is. It's a requirements document. Like I think the concern is IP encumbrances and
Yep.
so I think we should get the attorneys involved. But I guess the other thing I'm kind of trying to walk around is I think this is a common thing in OCP, and there should be a common pattern for it. And someone in OCP should say, yes, this is the way we do this in OCP.
I mean, that's what John just said, and he said maybe talk to Michael Schill to get a final answer on that, right? But I think that's probably correct, right? Like this is the way we do it. But like, I mean, just looking at this, like I can't submit something that that well, I don't know, right? Like I'm just looking at the license, like I have the authority to grant the rights and licenses here, and like no, I mean I need a lawyer to look at that, right? So
Yeah.
um,
Well, and I guess, so here's what I would say, Vilas, though, in my experience, if I go to the attorneys and say, I'm doing this particular OCP activity, it matters, right? Which activity?
yep,
So I think what we've got to do is like figure out what this is and then go about the process with that clearly agreed upon, in our heads, right? But John, I defer to you. You've done this more than me.
Right, right. I mean, I've provided the guidance before you arrived. I think Vilas understands. I understand Vilas has to go talk to his legal guys. I mean, we don't make a move anywhere without locking the legal guys, and some of them are accustomed to the way OCP does things, and so they understand all the licenses. I don't know. AMD may need more education before they're willing to make this agreement, right? So, Vilas needs to take the time he needs to take.
Okay.
but I think the first step.
I give it
Go ahead.
them both Michael Schill and Rob Royal, who should both be able to talk about this.
Yep. I think the first step, though, is we need a final version of the document that has just one license in it, right? Because like the first question any lawyer is going to ask is, "Let me see the document," and it needs to have, yeah. So.
And that's what I was trying to get an agreement on. I think we all agree that this is a Creative Commons license content, or do we differ on that also?
Is that the OCP standard?
I think it's not for specs and stuff, right? So for design, and again, John, I think you said this, but keep me honest. Like for true design specs, we would want a CLA and so on. Right?
Yeah.
This is the standards for like requirements document, which is what I think this is. But I don't know, right? John, I think I properly paraphrased what you said, right?
Yeah, you have.
Okay.
We all have to make our legal departments comfortable.
Right. And I would just say historically that is an uncomfortable process, at least for me.
Yes. It's kind of a we're not happy until you're not happy process. Yes.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, it's painful. I guess I'll need to do the same thing then.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I apologize for not catching this earlier. Like there's just an oversight on my end, but.
Okay, so I think we have an AR. I'll work with Drew and Antonio and others here to create this final copy with one license and ask everyone to discuss with whoever they feel it needs to be discussed within their companies. And if there is any objection, let us know by a certain date. And then from there, we'll take it to the next step. Is that good?
Yeah, I think that works.
Okay. So moving on, I think the next thing I wanted to do was to, how do I change the sharing? This GoToMeetings is so confusing to me. I wanted to go over the presentation that, can anyone guide me if I'm already sharing something? Oh, okay, then it's probably on the top of the screen. Stop sharing. I'm so scared of GoToMeetings. Okay, I got it. So I just wanted to quickly go over the presentation that we put together for this IC contribution meeting. We're supposed to present on what is that we are contributing, how it was created, and what problem does it solve, and then it's supposed to address certain OCP tenets. Can you all see my screen clearly?
Yes.
So yeah, this is the title screen. It's an OCP community contribution by this subproject. As of now, myself and Drew plan to present it, but if someone else wants to join, or I think everyone can be present. Is that right, John? Everyone can be present in the meeting for IC.
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So next one is I just flashed the community contributors because OCP does value community contributions participation by a lot of different companies here. A lot of this content is not new. It's just what we presented before in the Global Summit. So it should be real quick. I start with the problem statement with the current state of affairs diagram, move on to what is this framework about, a very high level statement, and then how we achieve this, and move on further to the details and key attributes of this requirements framework. And then we move on to OCP tenets, which I think sustainability is required, and out of the other three, we are supposed to meet two of them. Any comments so far on, or anything? I think that typically we get like 15-minute slot, and they do have a full copy of the document, so they don't want to go. They don't want a deep dive into the document itself, but they just want a high-level overview of what we're trying to achieve here, and then how it satisfies. Go ahead, John.
But they want to be familiarized with the document. You have to understand that after this IC, they go into a 1 week review, and then they go to voting, right? And so you want them to say, what I generally do is a very early high level table of contents, right? So it's basically familiarize with that document. So even though they have a link to this document, no one will have clicked on it. Right? No one will have seen the document. They'll see it after the meeting because they got 15 minutes to go through all this stuff, and then they have a week or so to review the document. So a problem statement is fine. Overall architecture is fine, but then you need a page to introduce them to, this is the document, these are the sections that you need to worry about, and have that discussion, right?
Okay.
Because else they're going to pick up the document and they're going to know, they won't know where to start.
Okay, so thanks, John. That's a good session. We'll edit right after we talk about, we're done talking about it, right before we jump into the how it satisfies the OCP tenets. Okay.
Right, and so how are the requirements set out, laid out? Wait, are these, this is in requirements document, right? So this is just a design use case document, because this is the one with a bunch of tables, right?
Yeah, it does have tables also.
Right. So you should go through at least some of those, one of those tables to say, hey, this is what we did, right? We agreed on this table. This table maybe it looks simple, but it took a lot of work, right? And so that's what you need to highlight.
I mean, I think the table, but I think the drawing too, just saying that, okay, we're
Yeah,
gonna, like the overall structure, the framework that we're gonna plug things into is kind of a heart of it too, yeah.
Okay, so good feedback. Thank you very much. We'll do that too. And yeah. So Drew, you're saying besides the tables, what else you're saying? Sorry, I make sure
Just
that I covered it.
to me, it's just that okay, this is the document. These are all the things we agreed upon, all of us, right? And embodied in this document. So,
and I
so
can
it's
help there.
represented in the right. So it's represented in this architecture diagram. It's represented in these tables. It's represented in these other ways, right? So when they look through it, they read the document as okay. These are areas that 5, 10 companies all agreed upon.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So I think we have some work to do there, but that's good. And then I think there might be some feedback on this, how we meet the OCP tenets. So I'll let everyone read, and I don't want to read it for you.
So before we get too far, I just remembered. So at the last IC meeting, the IC made a process change, which they wrote down to us, which basically said having a lot of these white papers and documents go up to the IC made no sense to the IC. That let's say a security white paper, right? IC gets it and like, who are the subject matter experts here, guys? And most of them are kind of letting it pass because I've got no feedback into a security white paper. So what the foundation decided was that only specs need to go up to the IC, and all other documents are dealt with by the project leads. So I asked them at that time. I said, "So great. When does this go into effect?" And they said June 1st. I said, "Well, thanks for telling us now." So when you talk to Michael and Rob, ask them, do you have to go to the IC at all with this document?
Okay.
Right. If they don't, then go talk to Helmo and Jeff Otter and say, we want to make a presentation at the hardware management project meeting, right? Say, you as the subject matter experts have made this agreement on this document, and you guys and present this slide set to them.
Okay. Yeah, we already did present once, but I think because of this new process, we probably I'll talk to Michael and
right. But there's a difference between introducing them to a topic and here's the final document we want approval on.
Sure. Yep. Agreed. All right. So yeah, we have some okay. So there's some process things to do, but any comments or feedback on this slide here?
I would like to see
OCP tenants. I mean, it's not us, right? Well, I guess it is, but
I would like to see
this is how we apply the OCP tenants. Never mind. I understand what this is.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see something about cost, spare cost. I'm just kind of trying to think through my wording. So the RAS solution helps us in improving actually cost efficiency related to spare management. So
So
I'm
I
not,
tried to kind of fold this into this, but I think it's not obvious. Does it help the last statement about impact on it? Operational cost efficiency
yeah,
and reduce.
yeah. If that's what you meant there, yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
From a sustainability, there's another thing that is not very clear here is the extending the life span of machines, and therefore supporting the sustainability efforts. What I mean is, as a result of using these features, RAS
Do you
technology,
want to make that claim that because we are handling errors efficiently, the life of the server itself gets extended? Do you want to make
Yeah,
that claim?
I think so because like and also fewer part swaps. So one of the things that we found was
That's different though, right, Drew? Okay, so I understand that operational efficiency is there, but if are we extending the reliability, usable life of the system itself? If it's say transistors were to wear out in 6 years because we are handling the errors better, are they going to last 7 years? Are we trying to go in that direction? I just want to be clear.
I think so, and I think that it's not that we're magically solving all these problems that make us use the machine learning. It's that we have a better handle on the health of our fleet, and because we have a better handle on the health of our fleet, we can tell when the fleet needs to be replaced. Where today we just go, it's getting old, we're not sure what's going on, let's just replace it to be safe.
just to add to something more, a very more concrete example, PPR, post-package repair. Right, this is a RAS feature. If you don't do it, then as soon as we see even a single bit failure or maybe a single device failure, right, we're going to replace them. That's it. Whereas if we deploy PPR, then we can repair it autonomously and keep that demo in the fleet for maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years until the next failure happens, right? So we are actually saving in terms of not swapping the devices and supporting the sustainability efforts. So I don't want to add too many words here, by the way. Maybe you want to cut down somewhere because there should not be more than 2 bullets, or maybe 2 lines rather.
And I think also fewer false fewer false positives, right? Today, you talk to folks, they can order just roughly 50% no fault found rate on a lot of failed parts. That's horrible. If we can get our no fault found rate down because we're more accurately diagnosing things, I think that's a pretty
Yeah, that's
sustainable thing.
right. So that I think fits into the operational cost efficiency.
It's also sustainability because you're not replacing parts unnecessarily. That's sustainable, right?
Yeah. I mean, sustainability in my mind, I'm thinking through is if I can keep my fleet longer, and therefore not recycling it too often. in that sense, right? That's what I'm thinking about sustainability.
Improved average lifetime of a part, right?
Yeah. Like within Meta, we have this pretty big initiative right now, SUL, server useful life concept, right? So by using this concept, we are extending the useful life of the server.
I think it should really I think it should say that, right? This extends the useful life of the server, right? Just like keep it kind of short. And I mean, I don't see a reason to talk about AI and ML and PFA and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Get rid of all the second
We're
bullet.
just justifying in our head by talking about it to make sure we can explain why. But I agree. I agree with you. It's that simple.
extend the useful life of the fleet. Yogesh, replace this whole second bullet with just one simple line.
Bear with me for a minute. Let's see if it does make sense, because we did we did agree on that, and we do feel that because of this initiative, we do have better insights into the error data, and therefore we can come up with better PFAs. So I don't just want to drop it. Let's discuss this for a second. If we don't agree, then we can definitely change that, right?
Yeah, that goes into efficiency, and I think you already have one, right? Maybe you want to, otherwise there's a redundant form. So uniformity of error classes and reporting form results with CSP analysis, software efficiency, isn't that covering that part? PFA and all that?
Not really, no, right? Because this one is talking about that, hey, I don't have to create multiple copies of the error handling software because I have some level of uniformity, which is vendor agnostic, platform agnostic. Whereas this is talking about because I have better error data consolidated across various heterogeneous type of be it vendor platform or I have better insights into how hardware fails in my fleet. So that's slightly different things, not exactly the same things.
No, so in sustainability second bullet, right?
Yeah.
The useful life of the server is utilizing the RAS features where we eliminate the fault. That's what I think where the extension life. Reporting errors, doing the prediction, result into sustainability is a secondary effect, right?
So let's talk about it on its own, right? How do you want to say that?
RAS technology supports extending the useful life of the server, or drives the useful life of the server.
But we do want to talk about, due to what this requirements document supports. I mean, RAS in itself, does it not do it today? What is this proposal bringing into the picture that actually further extends that?
It kind of it clarifies that, right?
Well, I think we're getting the richer error logs and better analysis. So, we're more accurate. We build our confidence, and by doing this across the industry, we can now all share logs with the silicon vendors, and the silicon vendors get a much bigger sample size under a much wider range of workloads, and that builds a much higher confidence in whatever their analysis tools are doing.
I mean, could we just make it one bullet? So industry standard early adoption of RAS saves compute cycles and fleet operation energy and extends the useful life of the server hardware, right? Because really all you're talking about is the industry standard adoption.
I think I agree with that. Let's see how that works.
Well, it's better data, better analysis leads to great things, right? That's how I'd put it.
Okay, let's get that also in there.
So that's a different thought process. That you can keep it a separate bullet. Yeah, I'm okay with that. But I mean, let's keep two things different, right? One is the technology itself, and this requirement document is bringing two things, right? One is error reporting standardization, and also providing a framework to implement RAS features. And those RAS features help in extremely useful life.
So, okay.
Because remember, the error reporting in itself doesn't directly ensures RAS features implementation. You
Plus
can
the
have an
analysis.
encoding. Mhm.
Yeah, it's also the analysis, right? But it's the quantity of data and the analysis that helps us.
Analysis and then taking action, right? All three things have to happen.
Yeah.
So I think your first bullet kind of does a good job there in summarizing the whole thing.
You want to add anything else to first bullet, Anil?
No, in fact, cut it down a little more, make it more succinct. Too many ends.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on sustainability? Are we good, or do we need to wordsmith further?
Replace the end with the comma. Richer error logs, comma. Compute cycles, comma, and oh, there's too many ends here after that also.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, cut down those ends.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
And,
you got it.
and there's no need to put server and hardware both. Just server is good enough.
Okay.
Servers.
All right. Any feedback on next ones?
Is the ordering of these tenants matters? I thought openness was the first one. I don't know when sustainability became first.
Yeah, I changed the order just because sustainability is the required one, but normally they put the sustainability last, I think. I can
Maybe
change
this is a question for John. I mean, let's make sure that we put them in order that the audience.
There's no requirement to put anything in order.
Okay.
It's three of the four regular tenets have to be addressed. You pick three, that's fine. And sustainability is the fifth and mandatory tenet that needs to be addressed.
Sorry, John.
Whatever order you guys want.
You said 5 tenants. Which is the fifth one?
No. I'll say it again. 3 of the 4 original tenets need to be addressed. The fifth tenet, sustainability, is a mandatory tenet that needs to be addressed.
There are 5 tenants.
Yep. Sustainability is a mandatory fifth one.
So I see 4 here. What is the fifth name?
Again, I will tell you again. Can you write this down? 3 of the original 4 tenets need to be addressed.
I understand that. Do you know what is the fourth one?
I know. No.
Okay,
It's
that's fine.
on the website.
That's okay. That was just a question.
I'm just gonna see if I can Google it. We'll see if it comes up.
That's okay. I can check. Well, I think we met the requirement here. That's good enough.
It says scalability.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't think we contribute to scalability indirectly, at least not.
I mean, other than it makes fleet maintenance at scale easier. I think this is designed with scalability in mind, because today the ad hoc thing that we have to do to diagnose problems is hard to scale.
Yeah, but that's we don't directly contribute to scalability.
It doesn't
helps.
matter. I don't care. We're good. We're good. We can keep
Yeah,
going.
we're good. Yeah, yeah. Yogesh, if we have some time today, I want to give an update on the engagement with CSM team about
Sure. Yeah.
invent.
Yeah. Let me wrap this up. I was just waiting if there's any more feedback, and then we have one more slide on this. In this, thanks to everyone for the feedback. It's really useful. Yeah, and then I added a slide about what's our future work, next steps. So just take a look. Am I missing anything else other than these last two sub-bullets, FMFM and error injection? Are we thinking or want to mention anything else here? I don't think so, but just want to make sure.
I think this is good enough, but I just want to throw an idea, especially for this AI ML large clusters. We use a pretty deep PCIe device hierarchy, and containment strategy needs a lot of attention, and some level of standardization also, because I see a lot of discontinuities in the implementations.
You're talking about error containment, like poison containment, that kind of thing?
Yeah, basically the downstream port containment, effective use of DPC, EDPC feature.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree. I guess Neil, if that we can put that as something future. But if you want my vote, I vote on your other topic, air injection, getting that nailed down a little bit first. So if that's okay with you.
Yeah. No, this is what we have right now is perfect, right? These are the
Okay.
priority order. But I'm saying that, I'm just speaking out here. This is
Welcome that idea and thought. I think like everything else we've been doing, we need to start putting it on paper and scoping it, and then.
Yeah. So let's add that later, Neil. We're not pushing back, but as long as we agree that comes after air injection, then we have that in our heads. But I don't know that it has to be spelled out here.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. I don't mean to change this right now. I'm just
Okay.
I was thinking of, yeah. In fact, I made a proposal in this global summit to present our learnings from our own implementation.
Yeah, Neil, I'm starting to do a bunch of IO work as well, so that maybe the your timing is pretty good there.
Cool. Yeah, I can share with you what I'm planning to present. What have you done so far? And yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's talk.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I think I'll hand it over to you, Anil. How is it going on CSM with CSM on Invent initiative?
Yeah. So let me share. So Scott is here. Scott, myself, Sammy, George. We talked last week, or this week. I think this week. Actually, last week and this week. Two things. One is we thought about putting together a presentation. Can you see what I'm sharing? Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yeah, it's just a little. Can you zoom in? You're sharing the whole screen. Maybe you can zoom in a little on this particular, control scroll or something. Yeah.
Too much. Sorry. Okay. All right. How about this one?
Yeah, it's okay for me. I'll let others speak.
Okay. So one is the white paper that George has put together. I think it is still moving in the direction of publishing it. So that will happen. We are hoping to get that out, or George is hoping to get it out before the global summit. This is a proposal that we have put together regarding in-band versus out-of-band methods. And we're thinking of 20 to 30 minutes presentation, joint presentation between Google and Meta, talking about where the in-band methods make sense, where the out-of-band method makes sense, and with a few case studies or few examples of how we are doing it. And I think the couple of key messages. One is in the hyperscale fleet, there is no one shoe fits all kind of concept, right? It's not like in-band versus out-of-band. It's really both, and in fact, a lot more permitted combinations that are being deployed and will continue to be deployed. The initiative that we are going through right now, defining standards for out-of-band management, is going to push us towards standardizing the area which has not, where there were really not a whole lot of standards in the past, or it was mostly proprietary kind of solutions. So that's the thought process here. Share first of all, maybe not more than one or two slides. What we call in-band, what we call out-of-band, and in the real world scenario, there's nothing like in-band or out-of-band in pure form. It's all mixed. And then clarify with at least one or two examples from each of the hyperscale. Again?
What do you mean it's all mixed? I thought out-of-band was very clear. You get it from BMC. In-band, you get it from the software agent. What is unclear about that?
Yeah, so if you look at the overall fleet, John, right? I mean, one is detection of the errors, which is done in hardware, some firmware also. Then putting the errors logs in some way, then again hardware or firmware, and then taking it out from that machine, and then using the data to do further post-processing, and eventually then using that to take some actions.
Well, and that's kind of broken today, but that's exactly what our requirements document addresses for the out-of-band side, right?
Right. So I think our current requirement that we are putting together, right? It's not like a purely out-of-band, everything out-of-band. We are pulling the data from out-of-band method, but then the rest of the tooling is all in-band in some sense, because that's where this in-band out-of-band concept is sort of is very muddy, and we want to clarify that.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's great to have the examples. I don't understand the muddiness. It probably would be good to talk about use cases for each of them. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to put one.
Do you really want to say that although in-band and out-band are well defined, in reality, it ends in several situations ends up being a hybrid approach? Is that what you're trying to say by saying the muddy? Am I getting it right, or I'm also confused like everyone else here.
I mean, it is a point of view, right? If your point of view is server hardware, then in-band out-of-band is what hardware does, or how hardware exposes errors, either through BMC or through host. So that I think is probably more clear when it comes to out-of-band. The moment our point of view changes beyond a single machine to a cluster, to a data center, to the whole fleet, from those point of views, the in-band out-of-band concepts, the definition of in-band out-of-band changes.
I don't think it does.
Okay, well,
you seem to be making very broad statements without any particular justification or use cases.
Yeah, no. Let me ask you one question. Like, okay, I have a fleet of, let's say, 1,000 machines, right, distributed across, let's say, 2 data centers, and my tooling that is operating at the whole 1,000 machine cluster. What do you call where the tooling is and how the tooling?
I'm not talking about tooling, right? We're not talking about tooling. We're talking about out-of-band information and in-band information. I don't understand why you've created this concept called tooling, which has muddled everything up, and therefore you call in-band and out-of-band muddled, right? If you have a cluster of 1,000 and there's a hardware failure, you should be able to get that out of band. It should identify the platform that it failed upon, clear.
Man, I think you're missing the point. When we are looking at these kind of methods, right, we are looking at from a hyperscaler point of view, the entire fleet. We're not looking at just one single machine.
But I guess, Anil, so I get that because we're looking at millions of machines. You know, we have a pretty big fleet.
Right.
But you diagnose a machine at a time. I mean, like at the end of the day, I don't fix the fleet. I create a service ticket for a technician to go out to a machine and pop it out of the rack and do some action and pop it back in, and then we check it out, make sure it's good, and put it back into service. And so we're managing a boatload of machines, many boatloads. But you know, like we still have to fix them. We still have like there's a micro and a macro level that's still appropriate, and of course, you know, we want the macro perspective. How healthy is our fleet? What's our fallout rate? What's our MTBF rate? Are our machines performing as expected? But that doesn't really change the data collection because, you know, all I do is aggregate a bunch of machine metrics to come up with my global metrics. So I'm not trying to push back. I'm just trying to illustrate why, from a hyperscaler perspective, I'm not sure. I understand. I'm open, but I just don't quite follow yet. No.
Yeah.
No. Actually, I'll give a counter example to mine. So a counter example, maybe this is in defending your thought, Neil, is that, you know, no matter what I do out of band, I'm not measuring free disk space because the operating system manages the file system. It owns it and it knows what it's used and it knows what's free. And so if I care about metrics like free disk space, then I have to measure that some other way because that's owned by the operating system. Now, I would again turn that around and say that's a resource that the OS manages, just like free memory and which memory is used and which memory is free. And so out of band doesn't really apply there. You know, it has to be in band because the OS owns it. But I'm just scratching my head. You know, I'm looking for an example to fit what you're saying, Anil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, okay. So again, I haven't really put together block diagrams to kind of clarify that. I mean, this is just a starting point because what is written here in this abstract is still holds core because this is what our view is right now. Okay, because both kind of methods exist and will continue to exist. Okay.
I think I could provide an example, right? If you're doing out of band collection of corrected error information, then I think that's clearly out of band. You're reading on a side channel, collecting data, no impact to the system. But now I want to apply PPR. Well, the application of PPR might actually be in band and out of band, right? I'm going to send an out of band command, but there may be a requirement to generate an SMI to, you know, ultimately, you know, have the PPR applied. So there's going to be instances where there will be a combination of both needed in order to, you know, do certain, you know, actions.
I give you, okay, Mark, I could give you an example then. I don't think that I would prefer that PPR not require SMM, so I'm hoping that we don't do that. But
no, that's a future, right?
But even if it didn't, right? The idea is SMM is just one example. But the idea is
page retirement, right? Let's just. I'm going to go with your example, Mark. Page retirement. That we did an out of band collection, and now we need the OS to do a page retirement, right?
Yeah, page retirement is a very classic example, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
but we can drive that out of band and say that but so for me, I say we made an out of band decision. We sent the page to the OS, and the OS did whatever it could. And you may have a kernel on that machine that happens to respond to the thing that says the page is bad, and you may not. But again, you know, I see what you're saying, Mark, and I agree with you. I don't understand why this is muddy. To me, it seems pretty clear.
No,
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I guess I would just say there's seemingly there will always be a hybrid component. And the SCI, I think, is a perfect example because if you send the SCI to the OS for notification of the page retire, that's in band,
yeah,
right? You're using resources.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
idea is,
Or Mark, how about this? PCIe. You know, like if there's a PCIe error, the driver the driver better pay attention to it because
Yeah,
got to react to it, right? But
exactly.
we may want to see it out of band, but something in the OS still has to respond. So I think we
So
agree there.
when I say muddy, what I mean to say is that there is no purely out of band or purely in band implementation. That's what I mean to say.
Well,
yeah,
I guess the way I would put it is there are in-band and out-of-band use cases, and that's why I don't think it's muddy at all. I think that it boils down to your use model, and you map the what you do in the OS, and you map what you do out of band to the use case.
Exactly. And so that's why we want to clarify that look in today's hyperscaler, here's an example where in-band method is used and it perfectly makes sense. Whereas in this example, there is an out-of-band method used because it perfectly makes sense. And there
Yeah.
are examples where there's a combination too, right? And there is no denial there, right? That's how we are implementing today.
So maybe what we do is we say this is all about the use cases for an in-band and out-of-band area.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that we're going to clarify that and show how the work that we're doing supports those.
Mhm.
And that's cool. But we're not saying it's all confusing. We're just saying the use cases, they're pretty clear. We just want to align everyone around them.
Exactly. By giving
Okay.
some specific examples of how we are doing it. I think one thing that we kind of talked about, right? A lot of papers have been written. People have talked about a lot of presentation also, but there are not that many examples of where we share the actual implementation, not like a very proprietary details, but enough details to give a clear understanding of how we manage today. And that's the thought process of putting together this presentation.
I do think, yeah, I think you've hit on something. I think that the thing that's kind of revolutionary here is that we're all talking about these paths together, and that's
Yeah.
what we haven't done before. So I agree with you there, and I think if you do that and you highlight the work and say, we're doing this work, we're showing the use cases, here's how you tie it all together. I think that's awesome, but that's not saying I'm not sure demystifying is the answer. It's like, hey, we're tying it all together. We're showing you that we have a coherent picture. It's more of proof that we've done our homework.
Yeah, so we debated on demystifying word. We had several different ways of put together, and we thought, well, let's just keep it simple, right? In some ways, we are kind of with examples, we are clarifying where in-band method makes sense, where out-of-band method makes sense, and where the mix of the two hybrid.
I
And
guess I would have
yes,
preferred aligning, or industry alignment, in-band versus out-of-band methods, or something. But sure,
I
whatever.
remember, Neil, that I actually have recommended just avoiding the in-band and out-of-band in the title.
well,
I
that's
don't
the
know,
whole
like
idea, right?
it's,
That's the whole idea that we in this white paper, I mean the requirements spec that we are putting together, right? We are bringing the out-of-band concept, which is very important to bring this to attention to. But then we should not forget that okay, there is a in-band also, and there are both are being used, right? So therefore, it becomes important to kind of talk more about these kind of case studies to bring the clarity to the
Yeah, I buy that. I guess what I'm hoping we can do with this, Anil, is, this is great. Do it, but let's make sure that we get aligned on the use cases. And I think we covered a lot of them. We had a lot of Mark and I had a lot of good discussion, and
yeah,
when we put the document together. But we came to alignment. We came to clarity on things. So if you take those tables that we had in the document and we kind of build on that. That would be great. Like
yeah,
build on what we've done, and I'm +1. I love it.
absolutely. I'm not trying to bring. I'm not trying to communicate here that hey, I'm bringing something new here. So what I'm thinking here is that the audience where we're presenting this, right, might have not had the same level of understanding as we all here. So how do we
Sure. Okay.
communicate that effectively? Right? That's
We're trying to catch them up to these discussions we had. Yeah.
right. And kind
Okay.
of giving a little more sneak preview of how we do today. I mean, how we do kind of that's the kind of theme behind this thing, right? Like for
Yeah.
example, George, agreed to talk about up to whatever extent is the methods implemented in Google Fleet based on the SmartNIC, right? That's the invent, and why it is done, what's the benefit, right? Without giving a lot of details, is very important to showcase. Similarly, for us, very unique thing for us is that we own the whole stack, right? We don't have any public cloud, and therefore we have full control on the software and the tooling that's running on top of that. And it's much more scalable. Just to give example, I wanted to make a change in our fleet today, this morning, and if I would have done that through the BIOS, it would have taken me at least a month or 2 months. And because I had the tooling to the kernel implementation, I just said, hey, this is what we need to change. And then by the time this meeting today, 2 o'clock, right, the change is already done. I got the entire fleet. Forget about once you do the machine, right? So that's the scale, the speed at which we can deploy invent methods.
Well, and again, that depends on the way you manage your fleet
Mm-hmm.
and your reliability requirements. So, but that's fine.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we don't do arbitrarily any change. Things which make sense to move fast, right?
Yeah.
So that's key.
Well, I mean, Meta's motto is move fast and break things, right? So.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're like 7 minutes over time. Can we,
Yeah. It's time for Milos to get his drink.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Martinis
Actually,
away.
Scott, this is just for you.
I'm jealous.
Can you pour into this for me if you left?
Yeah,
So,
our virtual meetings aren't that good yet.
I'm jealous. I'm in Sunnyvale, so I've got to fly home. Nothing for me. Anyway.
So before we end this, Anil, as a next step, I think we should, when you have first draft of your slides ready, maybe we should discuss those and align on the messaging that's going out and make sure that we actually project a coherent picture and.
Absolutely. In fact, I will reach out to Drew, Scott, and Mark. I mean, all of you, right, to feed in few examples.
Bring it to call, and then we can have a open discussion about with everyone together.
That's great.
Yeah. And so, Yogesh, on the first topic of the Creative Commons license, whatever, you were gonna send out a link to the document with the one thing, or?
Yes, that's my. I had to do that. Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cheers.
I'm jealous. Have a great long weekend.
Yeah, have a great
everyone.
weekend.
For those of you that have long weekends. But,
Oh yeah.
All right. Bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Great. Happy 4th.
Bye, everyone.
yeah. See y'all later.
Mhm.